Hello, welcome to another edition of Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and you're watching Diaspora Network Television. We have an app, a mobile app, which will enable you to watch us everywhere around the globe. All you got to do is search us at Play Store or the Apple Store, DNT Ghana, and you'll be able to find us. When you download the app on your mobile device, you hit it one time, it'll bring our page, and you hit live TV, and voila, you're watching us everywhere in the globe. Okay, so we're trying to get our content to you in multiple ways. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, and you can also find us on multi-TV platform. This is Diaspora Network Television. Many people have described us as something I don't want to mention another name. But what you need to know about us is that we are your eyes and ears around the globe. With 42 global correspondents, if it's happening anywhere in the world, you will know about it via us. So keep your eyes glued to DNT. Today, I have an amazing guest. You know her, but I'm not going to mention her name. You'll only know her, get to meet her when we return from the jungle. You know what the jungle is, right? Do you know how I coined that term, Jangle? Jangle. That is Jermaine's angle. I am a very opinionated person, so many times I think about stuff, and you get to hear the jungle when we come back. Stay tuned. All right, so welcome to the jungle today. Today's jungle is going to be different from the rest of them because it's going to be in a question format. I don't have the answer, but I'm bringing it because these are things I'm thinking about and I haven't arrived at a conclusion yet. So here's a question. Has religion helped or hurt people in general? We have religion that's causing people to do things that are hard to explain. Christianity. You have people who work in the sun, work very hard for their money, and they take it to church and give it to someone who is competing with other pastors for who drive the best cars, Rolls Royce, this, and a fleet of cars. Makes you wonder, what is the thinking here? Believe it or not, I asked somebody about it. And you know what they told me? She said, well, I've given the money to God. If he doesn't give it to God, that's between him and God. Really? Since when did God need our money? Now, I can understand paying collection, because after all, when you sit in the church, the air conditioned, somebody got to pay for it. So there are several things that need to be paid for. I'm fine with that, no problem. If you need to worship and you need to help pay for that, I don't have any problem. But when you know, feely, yes, today I'm saying feely, that the person that you're giving the money to, before he started preaching, he was catching trotro just like you. And today, when he started preaching, he tells you, give your money, I'm going to take it to God. And he has a fleet of cars, a lineup of girlfriends, houses upon houses, and you still go stand in the sun, work hard, sweat, and go give that money to him? I don't get it. And then we have, it's not as if Christianity is the only one with the issues. I am going to go there. What's happening in France right now is alarming to everybody. Now, I don't approve of what that teacher did when she showed the image of Prophet Muhammad in a very derogatory way. But is the response appropriate to behead the person? And since that incident, there's been a couple of other beheadings, all in the name of religion. Look, maybe you guys have know something that I don't. But I need to be educated why these things are necessary to project our religion. Because All the religions teach one thing: love thy neighbor as thyself. I don't see how you can love somebody and then chop off his head because he made a mistake. I don't see how you can love somebody and take their hard-earned money and go buy a Rolls Royce with it. So my question again in this today's jungle is simple. Has religion helped or hurt? You can go to our Facebook page and let me know your thoughts. For today, this is the jungle. Stay tuned. We'll be right back and you meet my guest.
We wake up every morning to different stories from politics, business, sports, and entertainment. These stories, one way or the other, affect our lifestyle and dealings with family, friends, and business associates. Your take on Diaspora Network Television gives you an opportunity to have your take on these pertinent issues via phone in and messages to our social media platforms, DNT Ghana on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If it's an important trending story, we will definitely talk about it. Your take with me, H0T, on DNT.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
Okay, welcome back. This is Jermaine Nkrumah in Diaspora Weekly on Diaspora Network Television. My guest today, Mary.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Give me that fist bump. Mary, Eudes, Batiki, Acquah. The last time you were here, you exploded our YouTube page. I mean, people can't get enough of you. And there were a lot of feedback. Did it surprise you?
Kind of, yeah. It did.
Why do you think people were so worked up about what you had to say?
I really do not know. Maybe we spoke something that really touched their heart. Something that maybe people don't talk that much or so often. With any controversial talk will always...
Do you regret doing that?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No.
I know some of your family members were not happy.
Oh, yeah.
Have they gotten over it?
They can never get over it.
Really? It is that deep?
Well, when I did it, I knew it's going to be on social media. It's going to be over there. And some of my family live in that country. So definitely they're not going to be happy with it.
If what you
not today, not tomorrow. Not to say like they would settle with it. But I'm okay.
But if what you were saying is the truth, they should be happy and say, you know what, maybe we cannot say, but I'm happy. Go, girl. Good that you said that.
I don't blame them for some reason, but I also blame them but really not blaming them, because it's a system. You must understand, and that not everybody will understand what you understand, and not everybody will take a stand to what you're willing to take a stand for.
Why do you think there's such a scarcity of principles, something that need to be told, but people shy away from it for whatever type of fear?
As we were discussing earlier on, but it's education. We're not taught, in Africa, we're not taught to express our views. We're not taught to express our dissatisfaction, especially when we are getting it from our parents or our elders or our leaders. You keep quiet, you respect, you show honor, you show respect. Especially in that country, it's more of you don't talk about the parliamentarian, or you don't talk about a minister, or you don't talk about the president, let alone to talk about the whole government, right? So it's something that is, you are considered, you dared, you lost culture, you... Okay,
so in Africa, I do know this, and I was talking about it earlier. Western musicians come up with rap. Now we learn it and we do it better than them. They come up with this pants where they drop their pants and show their underwear. Now we're doing it. So what is it about the culture of expressing your views. That has been a problem with us for decades, and we still have a problem with that now. Why can't we express our views as a people?
Well, I think we tend to be tolerative to certain things, and certain don't, especially when it's about to change the structure. We fear that change. We Africans, we fear that how can I say it? That challenge coming from the low level or from the younger ones of you know. So it has become like a culture. If we bring that rapping, whatever, that's okay because it's entertainment. It doesn't really touch us. But when it comes to challenging the status quo, then we see your fathers or your uncles or your leaders are not willing to be challenged or to be told.
Okay, so these older people, they're all educated, PhD, master's degree, and there is not a classroom where you will sit when you don't hear the term. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So we've gone all these decades, child, don't challenge the status quo. And we're struggling, and we can't develop our countries, right? Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you get a child right now given this, bam, 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 they're communicating with someone in New Zealand. That is their world. At what point does it hit us that, wait a minute, let's bring the kids in. Let's see what they bring to the table. I mean, it would be rational. Why aren't we doing that?
Again, it's selfishness, and I think also how I hate to say it, but I'll say this: Africa is sweet, and it's sweet for the leaders, and it's sweet for those with power, and some of them are not really willing to relinquish that power or that sweetness, or to share it, you know. And unfortunately, that's what makes us regressive, not really to go to progressive or to develop or to civilize enough. When we have families, like for example, I'm a father or I'm a mother, my daughter should not tell me new things. And we don't want to learn. We want to dwell in what we are used to.
Or do we
this
love...
has always been like this, so you don't have to change it.
Or we love being worshipped.
That thing too, you know, that thing too. You see it in many African leaders, not all of them, but majority of them. Not only African leaders, even to the low level. At the moment somebody feels I'm a leader in my own space, so you are a god in that space. Okay,
so I remember when I started here, right? My staff, the moment I park my car, they were like, "Sure, let me take the bag for you." All that. I mean, I wasn't used to that because I spent the bulk of my life back in the States. And it kind of surprised me a little bit. So not to be rude, I let them take the bag. But eventually I said, no, I'll carry my own bag. So now when I park my car, I carry my own bag. Does that make me less of an owner? Less of a leader? Or
well, that's why I like saying, how I wish for those of us and those leaders who have lived abroad. And I like telling many people, we have so many great things that we should cherish and retain as Africans, but we have others that we have to let it go. Yeah. And there are bad things that the Western are doing that we don't have to bring on a continent. But there are also other good things that we should learn and bring to the continent. And that's what we will experience a civilization. Yeah. We don't have to dwell in the past. It happened to me too, where you come here, madam, Lady Mary, because somebody respects you. For some reason, I didn't entertain it because it feels like, to me, this is too much. You know, I'm just a person like you. Just because you are a houseboy or whatever, you don't have to worship me. You know, and that makes us a little bit more. Some people take advantage, become lazy. You serve me. Lady Mary, you want a tea? Yeah, boy. Lady Mary, you want this? Or you do that? So you enjoy that. It's really sweet, you know. It's nice. But so again, when you live in those countries, when you know leaders serve, they don't get to be served. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Because in the Western culture, a father would rather even cook for the young ones, or we even serve. Yeah. In Africa, though, it's other way around. You know, the younger, then you serve.
And then we get lazy. There's no activity
Oh, yes.
and everything,
We
and
enjoy
then we
that
wonder
space.
why our our lifespan, life expectancy is lower. In I think Netherlands, the prime minister takes the subway to work. Boris Johnson, the prime minister in the UK, was seen recently riding a bicycle to work. What do you think goes through their mind when they live like that? And then they have delegations that come to them to beg for money. And among those delegations, there are like third level government employees who are riding in SUVs, who are flying on business class. If you were them, what would you do? Would you? Sometimes I really think about, this is how I live, simple life, but you coming to beg for money to go and live like lords.
Well, there is something that, as Africans, we really have to work on this, and I wish we can work on this today. We have our leaders, Boris Johnson or the Netherlands minister. They have their grandfathers who have built those infrastructure and have these trams or trains clean. Everything's beautiful, and therefore there is really it doesn't make sense for him using this protocol whatever with the cars or 10, 20 cars on the road of London to go to his work, when he can enjoy actually the people. If it's even beautiful to sit with the people, interact. You are not isolated. Some of our leaders are isolated. I don't even know how they cope. Because that is really bad. But again, come to Africa. We have our leaders who prefer that way because they think it's a security reasons. And they will tell you it's safety because I have to have a V8 because the roads are not that good. But do we really have leaders who say, you know what, I'm going to invest into my infrastructure in my country, that the next generation would never have to buy a V8?
Do you know the finance minister, Honorable Ken Oforiatta? Do you know what he drives?
No.
I think he drives a Kantanka sedan.
They will make me like him even more.
You see what I'm saying? So look at the practicality of this. We have small roads, traffic jam packed, but we're riding in tanks, V8s. I can understand if you, as a government official, you're traveling between Accra and Kumasi, or you're going in the villages where the roads are not good and you want to use the V8. But if you're in town and in the traffic, where we're squeezing vehicles through small spaces, why don't we have sedans in cars? Sedans in the cities, and use the V8s to travel the long distances?
To me, and again, I don't mind them having that luxury. Or if you really want to ride it, why not? You can have it if that's what you like. But we're talking of taxpayers' money. We're talking of those
V8s, the Land Cruisers.
No,
do you know how much one costs?
Well, to me, again, technically speaking, they need them. They need them because our roads are not really favorable.
Okay.
As a leader, we need to protect the leaders.
Okay.
We need to give them that security.
Okay.
We need to give them safetiness, onto the roads. But again, what do we do?
All
that
right.
From now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we don't have to invest billions buying V8s for the leaders. We will rather invest in those money to our roads, wherever that they will feel comfortable, even if they have to drive a sedan.
Okay. So a friend told me, and I have to admit, I have to verify it. But in the road contractor, I guess, society or whatever, it's known that 1 mile of tarred road cost about $1 million or something in that. That same $1 million buys you 4 of those V8s. Okay, so you're saying that, yes, they need it because the roads and everything. But I'm saying that if we're really looking at this, and again, I can understand for now, if you're going short distances, in a long distance in the villages, you may need that for safe travel. But in the city, if we're using that for the city, It seemed to
Let
me
me give you
that-
an example.
So wait, though, 4 V8, 1 mile of road.
Well, I used to say this before, that we waste huge chunk of amount of money or our budget into these cars or luxury of our leaders, not only in Ghana, on a continent as a whole. But again, you look on the other side, south, in South Africa, leaders are not really facing to driving huge cars. You only maybe president or whatever. I mean, most of our MPs down there, they're driving small cars
Oh, really?
because the roads are very good.
Okay.
So, but they doesn't mean they don't really get expensive ones. So the question is not how big the car is. Is the question is how expensive the car is.
Okay.
Because he may change from V8 and get a Benz that will cost the same
I
amount
know.
of money.
I know.
And you know, so
Okay.
the most important thing is to see where do we invest our money for the future generation. Again,
That's
I
it.
like saying that for
That's
the
it.
future generation, because the V8 will get out of the road in 4 or 5 years. The way even they will drive them is so funny. But the roads will be there for years. That's what we are lacking. That's what
Okay.
the moment that our leaders will understand that I'm here to serve, I'm here to give my people the best.
Okay.
I'm going to sacrifice to build this better road, even if I drive. We don't mean you don't have to drive in a car. Of course, you need a car. You are a
Okay.
leader, but you don't have to spend such a
Yeah.
huge amount of money to build the roads for the community,
Okay.
for yourself.
All right. This is Diaspora Weekly. We're going to go on a short break. When we come back, we're talking about African hotspots. The whole continent. There are fires burning here. We're going to talk about that. Stay tuned. There's Diaspora Weekly on Diaspora Network Television.
We wake up every morning to different stories from politics, business, sports, and entertainment. These stories, one way or the other, affect our lifestyle and dealings with family, friends, and business associates. Your take on Diaspora Network Television gives you an opportunity to have your take on these pertinent issues via phone in and messages to our social media platforms, DNT Ghana on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If it's an important trending story, we will definitely talk about it. Your take with me, H0T, on DNT.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
Welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and I'm joined by Mary Acquah.
Yep.
Ghana, we take the other names out. Just Mary Acquah. Very good. You've settled. You had the chance to settle in SA, Rwanda, here in Ghana.
Yeah.
Why Ghana?
I think it's more of family, because before I even see myself as an African, you have a family you come from. But intriguingly, there is something that people do not know about the cultures. In Ghana, majority of Acquah, we have a child belonging to a woman, a female inheritance, motherly inheritance. So you really not
Matrilineal.
matrilineal, you know. Now we have in the east where is paternal, you know. So when you are born to a man, you belong to the father and not to the mother. So when you're born in those,
So you are
so here, but
you are rejected by both
no, I'm
countries.
not rejected. I
Yes.
think they all love me.
You're like, my children are facing the same thing. From Nigeria, they're supposed to belong to the father. Wait,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be the father. So Nigeria has rejected them, thrown them at me. But me as an Akan, they're supposed to belong to the mother. So I've thrown them back. So they're hanging between Togo and Benin. That's the same thing that you are.
Oh yeah, you know.
Your father is Ghanaian. Yeah, so by our culture, you're supposed to belong to your mother's side. But over there in Rwanda, they believe you belong to the.
You are the father's child. You know their mother.
So when you go here, they send you go to your father. When you go to your father, they say go to your mother. So now you're in Cameroon. Where do you go?
Well, yeah. So I felt the way you are brought up, the family that is closer to you, that always draws you. So yeah,
Okay.
and I found myself in Ghana. So yeah, I've always been a Ghanaian.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, we claim you.
And
We
I'm
welcome.
lucky that they didn't reject me.
Well, we won't. we don't reject the combination of beauty and brains. And so now let's look at our neighboring country, Cote d'Ivoire. There's a fella by name Ado. I think they're trying to mimic Nanado because his name is Alassane Dramani, but it's not Dramani with an I, Dramani with an E at the end. Alassane Dramani Ouattara. Ooh. So in Cote d'Ivoire they call him Ado, right?
Oh,
Okay. This guy was so furious when Gbagbo would not leave power. Now he gets in 2010. In 2020, he said he's run 2 terms. He said, no, I'm going for a 3rd term. And he's quoting the constitutional, they voted on a new constitution. So legally he has a point. New republic, new constitution, my term is over, I'm running again. And it's causing all kinds of problems in. Just yesterday, the opposition leaders all gathered together and formed what they call National Transitional Council. All right. And officially denounced Ouattara's government. So they don't recognize that Ouattara is their president. The election that they boycotted, which was October 31st, I think the turnout was about 21%. So every day burned things, nobody voted. But of the 21% that voted, the Electoral Commission says Ouattara won 94.27%. So he's the president. So 94% of 21% of the people in Cote d'Ivoire support the guy who's president now. And everybody says he's not our president. What do we do there?
I think that's where we again, I like saying this, that's where we always see the failure of African Union. And in this regards, somehow the weakness of ECOWAS, because I see ECOWAS always coming against the military junta, which they have already done well with Mali. And I like the way they did it with the Gambia at a time. But again, what do we do with the dictatorship that continues when the people are not really willing to accept that? We have Ivorians who are not willing to do that. We have Guineans who are not Guinea who are not really willing, but they have to be subject to that because the leader is so powerful and he doesn't want to leave. What do we see ECOWAS doing? Quiet. African Union, quiet. And the Ivorians, this is the time they needed us. This is the time they needed the African Union. This is the time they need our voices. And to not only tell the guy to leave, but say, we are behind you. We don't want him to be there. Ivorians have a lot of brilliant people, intelligent people, patriotic people who can still replace him and be a president. You know, he did it to Gbagbo, and I think it was a time for him to realize that there are a lot of brilliant people who love Ivory Coast, and it's a time for me to give to somebody else. To allow people to vote to somebody else to lead the country. That is something lacking on a continent. When somebody becomes a leader, he wants to be a leader for life. You know, so we have a lot of monarchies actually on the continent.
But okay, Cote d'Ivoire has Akan people. So does Ghana. And if you went to the school of thought that I belong to, that all Africans are Africans. Why is it so easy for Gbagbo to first try to hold on to power unsuccessfully, and the very next person who was complaining bitterly about that now comes to power, he doesn't want to leave? But right down the street here in Ghana, Rawlings, he left. Kufuor, he left. Mahama, he left. Now Nanado. Do you think if he wins and 2024 comes here, will it even cross his mind that he's going to stay? So what is it about Ghanaians that's different from Cameroonians, Ivorians, Guineans, Rwandese, Uganda, and the list goes on and on and on. What is it?
It's a system. And of course, we also have leaders of morals and values. I'm sorry, I'm not saying those dictators don't have morals and values, but to me
they don't.
Exactly.
They don't.
They really don't. They self-centered. But lucky for Ghana, we should cherish it that we have our leaders who have conscience and who feel like, I'm pretty sure even Acquah though, I wish him well. But again, if he doesn't win, I'm pretty sure he will be willing to leave.
Of course. Of course.
The office.
Ibrahim Yusuf, Isufu, Niger Republic. Some people went to him and tried to convince him to run for a third term, to stay, just like Ouattara and Alpha Condé is doing in Guinea. Do you know what he did? He said, thanks, but no thanks. And then turned around and had those people arrested and thrown in jail. Just for suggesting that.
Well, that's a good leader, a leader with a conscience. But how many do we have on a continent?
Why don't they speak?
Again, that is a culture that we want to break on a continent. There's a culture we want to break. And people forget that if you do this, you support this tyranny, it's going to come against your children.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, this 20%. First of all, it doesn't make sense. In whole population, whatever that is eligible to vote, only 20% was ready to vote.
Yeah. Because the rest
does it make that election really legitimate?
It's illegitimate.
Not even 50%. Now, those 20%, however, now the question comes to them. How do you feel? In Africa, we have these things of tribes, or it comes from my region, or whatever, then therefore I'm going to vote. But do you understand the consequences that will be vibrating 20, 10 years to come?
I know.
People don't really think. That again, education, where we have to tell our people, listen, before you make a decision on any leader or any election, think of honor not you, because you may be growing old. 20, 30 years from now, you'll be gone. But the consequences of what you're voting for.
You know, we sit here and we say those white police officers that are killing black people, we sit here and we say, but 99% of the police officers are good. Only 1% are doing this, and they're making the 99% look bad. To the extent that now people are attacking good cops, right? And we sit here and we scratch our heads, but so why don't the good police officers expose the bad ones, right? And we have a legitimate argument. Well, now you, the African leader, I'm talking to you. Nana Akufo-Addo, you're good. Isufu, Niger, you're good. There are a lot of good leaders of you out there. If you don't expose the Ouattaras and the Condés of the world, how different are you from the good white police officers who seized black police officers and looked the other way? Who seized the bad police officer and looked the other way?
Well, the problem on this continent we have, we don't, that's where I like talking for African Union.
Okay.
We only see ourselves as, I'm a Ghanaian, therefore Tanzanian issue it's not for me. I'm a Ghanaian, Ivorian issue is not for me. And then it transcends up to our leaders. When they feel like, well, we are in an election, we are really in a hot spot in Ghana, therefore we don't have resources and the energy to see over our borders what's going on to our neighbors. But we forget.
Then why form ECOWAS?
Then we forget.
Why form African Union?
To me, I like saying, if Ivory Coast goes to fire today, the whole of West Africa will feel it. Because we'll be the one absorbing all the refugees.
Where do you think the Ivorians are going to go?
We know we'll be the one feeling the heat that is burning on the other side.
Yeah.
Therefore, we shouldn't take it lightly.
Yeah.
We should really involve ourselves, because it's our business. An Ivorian business is an African business, it's a Ghanaian business.
Yes.
You know, I see many bad things going on the continent, and we feel, oh, they are far away from us. Not really. Anything that happens on the continent here affects all of us.
Yeah, but I'll cut the leaders some slack. Here's what the reason. If I'm a leader, let's take Nana Addo, for example. He's running Ghana. Yes, he's chairman of ECOWAS. But he's got his hands full within his country, right? In fact, he's running for election. Now, ECOWAS has a commission. African Union has a commission. They've set these bodies up and say, you handle the executive functions of ECOWAS. Where are those people?
Well, let's be honest again. Why do we even have a commission of African Union that is not working? Unless if the president representing, how do you call it, now is Ramaphosa, will only have to take initiative. If not, Musa Fakil or his commission, it will be inapted. They're really not working. With Mali issue, until Acquah stood up and really led the delegation, and he really was involved in Mali issue, and he really saw it resolved. Do we have institutions and agencies on the continent that are working? The answer is no. Whether it be agencies and institutions on African Union level or ECOWAS level, even within the country here, you know, we have agencies that falls within certain ministerial or presidency that are non-functioning, unless if a minister says something, then they can do, you know, or unless if the president says something, then the agencies or institution will have to act upon. But do they really take a stand of their mandates and execute it without somebody telling them what to do? That's what we like on the continent, you know.
So I'm going to ask you the root cause of all this, because for some of us, we say build institutions. Don't let it be about one person. Build institutions. In these cases, we have the institutions. We have the African Union Commission. We have the ECOWAS Commission. Okay? So the institutions are there. They're supposed to function. But just like governments, where we have Registrar General, we have SHRAG that's supposed to investigate human rights abuses and criminal activity. We have IRCO, Organized Economic Criminal, whatever. We have Special Prosecutor. The institutions are there. But why are they not implementing their mandate?
Well, I had this discussion somewhere that I'm not going to mention. And one of the people told me, oh, Mary, you know there's a problem because there's no connectivity and there is no interlinkage. Now, we must understand that when these needs to work, they have to be connectivity.
Interconnected, yeah.
Yeah, they have to be communication. They have to be trust with other agencies that you have to be able to execute what you're supposed to do. But there isn't such a thing on the African continent, even in Ghana here, right? Everybody is a territorial. It's about, I'm into this department, that's mine. Even though there's a certain issue that have to be shared or to be discussed with other agencies, with the different ministerials or different commissions.
But on paper, they're supposed to communicate.
Well, that's another. Now it comes again to say, do we really have to go read the constitution and the paper to see how it works? Because people are not acting accordingly, right? When it comes to what's going on in Cote d'Ivoire or in Mali, what happened, I really congratulate Acquah for what he did. That was really commendable, and I'm so happy for his stance. But again, what is happening in Cote d'Ivoire, I would have wished him to really also fearlessly, or to really, I know he's really tight because of the election. But again, the issue over the border there is really serious. And he is the chair of the ECOWAS. If he calls the meeting or something, I'm sure there is a way that they do their own things and to convene the meeting for the other leaders to. And then
you had AN0THER. What happened there?
That is something really deep. Africans or Nigerians, for that matter, they have realized we are tired of this. It started as something to end SARS or the brutality of police and SARS, but then it grew into something else. So no, we are tired of corruption. We are tired of stealing.
You know what?
Africans are tired.
Africans are tired. Hold that thought, because when we come back from the break, I probably, and I'm not saying probably, I think we're going to talk about whether or not the issue is the people or the politicians. This is Diaspora Weekly. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We wake up every morning to different stories from politics, business, sports, and entertainment. These stories, one way or the other, affect our lifestyle and dealings with family, friends, and business associates. Your take on Diaspora Network Television gives you an opportunity to have your take on these pertinent issues via phone in and messages to our social media platforms. DNT Ghana on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If it's an important trending story, we will definitely talk about it. Your take with me, H0T, on DNT.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
Hello and welcome back. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah. I'm joined by Mary Acquah. This is Diaspora Weekly. And we are going to get into the psyche of the African, okay? There's a place, Zongo Junction, you know that, on Medina Road. Yeah. I think a year or so ago, I think it's been maybe a year and a half to two. There was a pedestrian pedestrian accident. And the people rioted, made a whole lot of noise that they accused the MPP government that the NDC started a walkover, right? And the MPP had not done it, so they burned tires, made a whole lot of noise. Okay, within 2 months after that, not one, but two of the walkways were completed. One on this side of the traffic light, the other on that side of the traffic light. Guess what? Nobody uses that walkway. They still walk through the road. Sometimes you're driving and your light is green and they are crossing you, forcing you to stop. That's the people mentality. Here's another example. Mary Acquah is running for parliament. Brilliant ideas, smart lady and everything, but no money. Jermaine Nkrumah walks along with no brain whatsoever, but a pocket full of money. The people vote for Jermaine Nkrumah and you walk.
Yeah.
Is it the leaders or is it the people that's Africa's problem?
That is really a complex issue. It's a complex issue. And that thing can only be put to an end by our leaders again. You know, because they got a big responsibility to change the continent.
Yes, but you see, we are not.
I'm going to come on that. On that.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have, first of all, an educated population. Yeah, now we are so thankful that there's now free SHS, and now in the future we will have more educated people who can even think at least beyond 2 meters. But as for now, we still have a huge population in Accra, outside of Accra, that are really, really not educated. It's easy to manipulate them.
I think it's beyond education.
Hang on, I'm going to come on that. Of course, the earlier on I also spoke about our culture, that we also, the only way you can beat a bad culture is through education. I'm not saying African culture is very beautiful, but there are those things, small things that we have to work on. You know, some families have really worked on it, and like you tell your son or your daughter, please share with me, let's discuss. Or if you see I'm doing something you don't like, please let me know. Or you involve your child. You are trying to teach him to be a leader or to take stands, right? But many African families, the corruption that we experience today starts in our families. It
starts everywhere.
When your uncle does something, you don't say, keep quiet. When an elder, even 1 year or 1 month older than you, does something wrong, you don't say anything.
So when you get to office and somebody is stealing,
so this is how we are brought up. So when you are there,
mind your own business.
Mind your own business. And again, that is something to work on. Again, education, that will change that. Come back to poverty. Some of our leaders that are like saying this more openly, the leaders that we are voting to speak for us are really there to speak for us, or are there to work for themselves. I'm not saying all people do that, but the majority do. Now, when they bring their money to the villagers or those poor people buying their votes, these people, I've seen that in some way in a village. years ago. When they wanted the votes, they would do anything. They would even go to the cocoa farms to help them. Right? And they would, if your child needs the books, they'll give you the money for books. If you're at a time, all neighborhood will become, if you want to be an MP, you know how much they will be coming to knock at your door. I need this, and because they're really poor, they need it. And if you're willing to throw your money to it, but the question is, that money you're throwing, you really, really love them, or you're calculating that moment you become
It's an investment.
you're going to
It's an investment.
gain back.
But
That
this,
kills now you can't blame the people, because these people are desperate.
well, there are
These
times.
people
There
are
are,
not educated.
Yeah.
If they were educated, they'll feel like, you know what, no. I'm poor today, but I'd rather vote for somebody who will speak for me.
okay. So you say they're poor, right?
Yeah, poverty also is a
They're-
problem.
all right. Elections are held every 4 years. 2016, you collected money to vote. 2017, 2018, 2019, did you die? No, nobody ran for parliament, but you survived. So why is it that 2020 you are so poor that you need to take that money instead of voting
That's
for
what I'm
someone who
saying.
has sense?
Education, understanding, the way that I understand things is not the way that my next person understand. The way that I see things in my lenses isn't the same way that the other person sees it.
Okay.
Right. So the way our mind works.
So you say
unfortunately,
education. So you say education.
Education.
All right. Let me give you an instance. There's a road. There's a traffic light with a sign. This lane, 3 lanes. 1, 2, 3. These 2 lanes, there's a big old arrow that says straight. This one, there's an arrow that says left turn. You're in line. You're waiting. The line turns left. Somebody is blocking those who are going straight because he wants to make an illegal left turn. And when you look at him, he's wearing a suit. He probably has a university degree.
Again, let me tell you something. You said it earlier when we were discussing. Indoctrination. Education. Our system of education, our curriculum doesn't help us. I like saying it. I'm sorry for saying this, and people will be really, really angry. When you go and speak to a child of 18 years old in Europe or in the United States, and you speak to a child of 18 years old in Ghana, you feel the difference, right? And 18 years old, the other side, is like a grown-up, mature woman or man. If you speak to somebody who's graduated, I'm not really undermining the man, God forgive me, from Legon. Not all of them, some of them wouldn't even talk like somebody who just comes from Legon. They wouldn't even defend their own understanding or put their ideas, because we were raised and taught in a way of fear. You don't even speak to your lecturer, because you don't even if he does a mistake in front there, you don't talk because he's a lecturer, right? You keep quiet. On the other side, people are taught to be bold, to be patriotic, to stand to what they want, and to believe in progress. This is not what we are taught here.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it. I mean, people.
Indoctrination is needed in Africa, way from grassroots.
Yeah.
We are teaching our children, listen, you need to live in a healthy way. You need to live in a clean way. You need to fight for this. You need to do that. By the time that child finishes HS or whatever, and you want to go to vote, he will do the right decision because he knows what he deserves. Most of our people, even though they're educated, do not know what they deserve.
Yeah.
Therefore, they'll put anybody out there to lead them.
Well, for me, Africa, there's a resurgence of, I guess, a yearning for self-sufficiency. There's going to be a lot of pressure on leaders. And I know that when these leaders get together, they fear Arab Spring. What happened in the Arab Spring? They fear a resurgence of it here in Black Africa. So in a march to self-sufficiency, is it going to be driven by leaders or is it going to be driven by the people?
Okay. I had to say this. Would you allow me to give me some little time to talk about this?
Sure.
Or how I see it?
Sure.
I had this issue when I asked one of the leader, and I was lucky to meet one of the business attaché in one of the embassies here in Accra. And I was so fascinated how the person opened up and told me what they do in Ghana, how they invest in Ghana. Now we must understand that we can never be self-sufficient by our own, by ourselves. We need the continent, we need the whole world to get there. But how are we doing it? we are doing it in a very wrong way. We see most of African leaders, when they fly to those European countries, they take a number of delegations, business delegations, governmental delegations. The only aim is to bring investors here, which is okay because we need them. We need them to invest here. And they bring ideas from abroad to here, and the products and services. But how often do we see leaders and the business people that they go there that willing to take investors from Ghana to invest in those countries, or to bring services and products from Ghana to that countries? That's the only way we can get, because if we do cocoa, yam, whatever, that's okay, but we can never get self-sufficient if we don't do the right thing. Now, here is where we are failing. What do our business attaché in different embassies around the globe, for Ghana or for Africa, do? I'm not sure they are really doing what they were supposed to be doing. Yes, they are doing to bring investors, but where does it? You go to the north, people are doing neem oil, people are doing shea butter, people are doing a lot of organic things. Do you know how much those things cost abroad?
I know.
Very expensive. Only a rich person will afford them. Now you go to other countries and you see shea butter or neem oil being smuggled by people who fly. Oh, you go to Ghana, please bring me some 5 whatever of shea butter in your bag. And then the person starts selling small. That's, you will see how the big demand. But what our leaders in those countries have seen, like, oh, Ghana can become the biggest shea butter producer, can become the biggest neem oil producers. We're not seeing all of that.
So is it going to be, our march is going to be driven by the people or the leaders?
Self-sufficiency, you spoke. We have people, we have people in the rural areas that are really, really poor. They will tell you, you are from, could you please find from someone to come buy me my honey or to come buy me my shea butter? But that was supposed to be governmental work, or the leaders. Or
create the enabling environment for them to connect.
They are not creating the enabling environment. The way the world works, no matter how much the society need to involve, leadership, how they do business should change. In order for us to enjoy.
So what do the people have to do? You just sit down and let the leaders.
We have to speak to them. We have to be vocal. But where the avenues to be vocal are, they are really, really minimum. Because most
if you see somebody throw trash on the street, would you talk to them?
Oh yes, I always do. You know, I wish I was the police. Even if I see you are sitting in a car, a beautiful car, and you're throwing something from the window, that's outrageous. I really have to speak.
So the whole point, and the whole point that I've been asking all these things is this: I truly believe that we, the people, we need to start to conscientize ourselves. We need to police ourselves.
Jermaine, it's indoctrination. Okay,
but you can overcome that.
Hang on, let me tell you something. With my little experience that I have had, let's talk about the other side. I spoke about the side of Rwanda, right? Let me take it an example. They have managed to indoctrinize their population in a such way that if you throw something, your colleague will be like, collect it. You don't need even the police to remind you to collect it. It has become awareness into the population. That's what we lack, because they teach them from schools, in the homes. There's what they call a gathering, whatever they always gather, and they tell them what to do. Indoctrination is very important.
If we start talking about Africa, it's always a very long conversation. But you know what? We can't stop. We have to talk about these things. They're difficult. They're not easy. In some cases, even create enemies for us. But you know what? The most important thing that you need to know is that we're doing it out of love for Africa, not to unnecessarily anger anybody or call anybody into fame. At the end of the day, we're trying to build Africa. And if you're so worried about your name or reference being made to you, then do the right thing. Do the right thing. It doesn't cost anything to do the right thing, but it costs a lot to do the wrong thing. Particularly when you think, instead of thinking communally, you're going to think about what benefits you and your family. You're missing the point completely, because you know what? Your family will not be able to sustain the big mansion that you put, the big business and everything, because the conditions surrounding them are not conducive to maintaining those things. And in the end, your only luck, your only chance of making sure that the people who follow you are able to sustain the good things that you did is to create an enabling environment. And you can only create an enabling environment if you're thinking communally instead of thinking selfishly. This has been Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah. Mary, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for
Thank you so much
joining
for having me.
Thank you for watching.